Hey y'all, and good afternoon. So we're going to do something a little different today because I've gotten a few requests from some of you folks out there on creating a video exactly on how to do this particular outdoor activity. If you don't recognize the logo, that is the logo for geocaching. So of course, geocaching is a fun activity that you can do by basically searching around outdoors for treasure chests, basically. You call them treasure chests or small little tangible items that you could find out in the world that are hidden by other people and that are open to the public to come look for, discover, and basically find a cool little item out there in the world. You usually can't take it with you. You just kind of observe it, put it back where it came from so other people can get it in the future as well. And it's really fun because it gets you out there, it gets you exploring around a bit, and you can associate with other folks who are doing it as well, make new friends, get some exercise, and it's just a lot of fun to get out there and explore and see the great wide world out there. So I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a how-to introductory course on how exactly geocaching works and how you can get started if you're interested. Now, also bear with me because you guys might know I'm a little new to the YouTubes a bit. So I'm going to be trying to do some narration and some voiceover on some screen grabs here. It's going to be a first time try for me, so bear with me a bit on this. And of course, if you guys have any additional questions about how geocaching works or any other things that you need me to elaborate on, I'll be happy to do so. Just give me a shout on the comments and I'll be happy to elaborate. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few of the fundamentals on geocaching. Let's check it out. So of course, the first thing you're going to want to do is to check the App Store for the geocaching app. Go ahead and just type it in, download that sucker. It's completely free, and we'll take a look from there. Next step is to check the map on your geocaching app. You might see a green dot nearby. You want to click the closest one to you. That'll give you some details about the cache and its location. Then you can click the navigate button, and you can see here, you're the blue arrow. It's going to show you exactly where to go to get to that cache. It'll show you the distance and how far away you are from it and how far you have to walk to get there. So if you're having trouble finding exactly where the cache is hidden, you can take a look at the description of the cache itself. It'll show you a few details here. As you can see that it's kid-friendly and it's on private property, and this particular one was hidden with full consent of the owners. So we're good to go with this one. You can also look at the past activity logs. That shows you other people who have found this cache. They'll leave some notes behind, sometimes just something really simple saying, oh, thank you for the cache, etc. Other people might leave some details or some hints themselves if you're having some trouble locating it. So it's always worthwhile to scroll through and see what other people have said, just in case you need a little additional hint to find the cache. Alright guys, so here's the next geocache that we're looking for. I did just show you on the map kind of exactly how to navigate the app to help you find the caches. Also any hints if you get stuck, and just kind of how to use that GPS to navigate towards it. So this is what I found here next to this church. Now, if it's on private property like this, it's always a good idea to check the description of the cache to make sure that it is placed with permission of the property owners to make sure you're not trespassing. But here's the cache I found. Let's see what we got inside. That's some cool stuff. Oh, that's Tales from Sonic the Hedgehog. I have a Sonic the Hedgehog collection, so this one might come in handy. Lots of other cool stuff in here. So, of course, what we do here is if you see anything you like within the swag bags, feel free to go ahead and take it with you under the little Superman thing. Under the good etiquette that you leave something behind to replace it. What I'm going to replace it with is this thing that I found in Clearwater. This is something special called a tracker, and after this I'll show you on the app exactly how to log a tracker. The moment is I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I'm going to sign the log with this pen here, dating my username from the geocache app and the date that I arrived, and that way it'll be able to log my history, and we can see all these other folks that have stopped by here as well. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to go ahead and pack it up, leave it back in its hiding space for the next person to stop by. Now, the next step after you find the cache successfully, you can go back into the app, go back to the cache itself, and you can leave your own log. Go ahead and just type in something quick about your experience finding it. You could put pictures if you want. You could put any details saying that it took you a little bit to find it, you found it quickly, or you can also just thank the cache owner as well. You can even leave these logs if you don't find it. Of course, you'll get a sad little frowny face on your geocache map, but that always gives you the idea that you can come back and look for it again if you have trouble finding it. As you can see, today I was able to find it successfully, so the app marks it as a successful find for me. And now I get a cute little smiley face on my map. Successful cache. Let's go over one more example, just as a step-by-step. Of course, the first steps will be to actually download the Geocache app and set up your profile. Then you can open up the map and click on the green dot that's closest to you. That'll take you to the details of the geocache itself. Next step is you can get some information that'll help you find the cache. You can select a few different things on here. As you can see, you can select the hint. That'll give you a few more details about the cache. You can also, of course, select the description. That'll give you some other details. For example, this one shows you that it's near the basketball courts in a small container with a purple cap. And for even more details, you can select the activity log. This will show you some details from other cachers and what they've written on here, and they might include some hints as well, including a photo which they might take. You see that one right there, this particular cacher left a photo, which we're waiting to load. There it is. And that might give you also a hint as to what the cache looks like too. It might be a bit of a spoiler if you take all these details, but it might also make it easier, especially if it's the first cache you've found. After you've found it, you can select log cache, and you can select if you did find it or if you didn't find it. Either way, it's a good idea just to leave a note. So for example here, I'm just going to leave something really nondescript as just an example. But what you'd ideally want to do here is write out your details about how long it took to find it, if you did find it, and if you didn't, and if you had any interesting experiences along the way, like animal sightings or crossing paths with other geocachers, stuff like that. Just a few details to leave. Then after that, you are all set. So another thing to look out for too is on the geocache map here, you can see different colored caches, green ones and gray ones. The green ones you can access anytime. They're completely free. The app is free to use, and you can access these caches anytime. The gray ones are exclusive to the paid premium option, which of course that exists. I believe it's $7.99 per month, but it is absolutely not necessary unless you actually fully want to upgrade it to access these gray caches, which are more advanced and difficult to find. Otherwise, you can easily access the green ones anytime you want for free. So a quick overview of some stuff to bring with you too. One would be a good pair of gloves to protect your hands from any sort of creepy crawlies, especially if you have to reach under any rocks or into holes. Some water is a good idea just to stay hydrated while you're out there, as well as a snack or some food just to keep your energy level up. Also recommend bringing a bag or backpack depending on how far you're going or where you're going. You might need some stuff just to store your items. Especially also a phone charger or spare battery, because you'll need your phone charged not only for the GPS and for the geocache app, but also just as a safety. That way you always have it charged up and ready to go, and you'll always be able to use it in case of an emergency. Also some trinkets or small items to drop behind in geocaches that you might find. So one other addendum that I want to make to that list of items to bring with you when you go out and about geocaching is potentially some form of self-defense. Now I say that not to frighten anybody, but geocaching can take you to some pretty interesting places depending on where you are and what you're looking for. Of course, the best defense is always self-awareness and just to keep an eye around you and make sure that everything's looking good. If anything seems fishy while you're out there looking around, trust your instincts, and your safety is not worth finding a geocache, of course. Now again, this is of course going to depend on where you are. Geocaches can be found all over the place, out in the wilderness, out in the middle of the city, everywhere. But sometimes it's good just to have something with you just in case. Again, I'm not saying you'll ever need that. On full disclosure, out of the long time I've been geocaching and the close to 250 caches that I've found, I've only been frightened one time. And that was me, of course, poking around someplace I probably shouldn't have. Nothing happened, but I was accosted at one time and I had to kind of talk my way out of it. Again, that comes with the territory. I don't want to scare anybody away. I just want to offer full disclosure that it is a possibility, depending where you are and what you're looking for, that you might just want to use your best instincts and keep safe. Okay, just something to keep in mind, absolutely. Because like I said, no geocache is worth your personal safety. So just keep your eyes open and be safe and have fun. One other brief addendum that I want to make in regards to staying safe while geocaching is that geocaching is a great family activity. That's a lot of fun for kids. They have a lot of great fun actually finding the items themselves, good with problem solving skills, solving riddles, and also getting out into the open air, exercise, fresh air, exploring new sites, studying nature, those aspects. But of course, it is recommended for any minor children or young children to always be accompanied by adults when geocaching as well. Even if it's just right down the street, there's one in your neighborhood, it's still a good idea to accompany them, not only to support them and potentially help them out if they get stuck on a clue or they have trouble finding the cache, but of course, safety as well. Always something most important to keep in mind. But regardless, it's still a great family activity. Just stay safe, be mindful, and have a lot of fun out there. On to the next tip. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some different caches that I found, kind of give you an idea of what a cache kind of looks like when you find it in the wild. All sorts of shapes and sizes of different caches. So we're going to do a quick little montage of some footage I've collected. If you've been watching some of my videos, some of this footage might be a bit of a retread, but I just want to kind of get a good overview of different types of caches out there that you could find. So let's take a look at those too. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's pretty hot out here today. That's another key point with geocaching. Always bring water with you. You want to stay hydrated out there. Now, another thing I want to bring up is that sometimes caches can be hidden with full support of a government entity. And by that, usually I mean something like a National Park Service, or in the example I'm about to show you right now, a public library. Libraries are usually a good place to find caches. And they're pretty fun because sometimes you have to interact with the actual staff themselves in order to find it. In this case, I asked the reference desk for some assistance, and they were able to help me find this really cool looking cache. So let's take a quick look at it, and I'll show you just how far wide these can be. Little capsules hidden out there in the supermarket parking lot, hidden in a bush out in the middle of the forest, or right in the middle of your public library. You never know, but let's see what we have. Let's go over some geocache glossary, and let's slap these letters right across my face on this video here so you guys can see it. All right, here's a few details you might see on the geocaching app, some different terminology just to kind of clue you in exactly as to what it means. PNG. I'm not gonna do that for everyone. PNG stands for park and grab. Those are caches that are usually gonna be pretty easy. You can usually find them like in suburban areas or in parking lots. Stands for park and grab. You just drive up, park, hop out, and there's the cache. Usually really easy to find. Not too much of an issue usually. Next one is muggle. Now, Muggle is exactly what you might think it is if you're a Harry Potter fan. Of course, in the Harry Potter universe, Muggles are people who do not participate in magic or have no knowledge of the wizarding world. Same case with geocache. Muggles are going to be casual people going about their day who don't necessarily know about geocache, or they're not clued into one nearby. Now, the reason why they bring up Muggles is because sometimes you want to be a little careful. Searching around, looking under rocks, checking around fences might seem kind of suspicious if people don't know what you're doing. I myself have been questioned by security a couple times, asking me what I'm doing. Usually I explain it to them and there's no issue whatsoever. But if you see something on the geocache app saying watch out for Muggles, that usually means it's going to be a busy place, and you just want to be a little discreet, just so you don't, make anybody worried that you're doing anything suspicious or potentially dangerous. Okay? The next term is DNF. That stands for did not find. Of course, there'll be caches that you come across that you just might not be able to locate. Either it might be too well hidden, or there's the potentially that the cache was taken. Someone might have discovered it, not quite knowing what it was, and left with it. That's a terminology called muggled, which of course is the same thing, which means someone who didn't know about geocaches found a suspicious container and took it away, either to dispose of it, give it to the authorities, something like that. But if you don't find a cache that's perfectly fine, the app will have an option for you to mark it as did not find. So you'll see someone say DNF. That simply means they couldn't find it. You can always come back and try later. Or if the cache was taken, sometimes the person who actually hit the cache will replace it at a later date with a new one. Another term is TFTC. That's an acronym for thanks for the cache. That's just kind of a quick little etiquette point. If you want, when you find a geocache, you can put on your log any details you want, like, oh, I was out for a walk today and I found the cache, it was a fun find, or I found it with my sister who was visiting from Chicago, or anything like that. But if you want, you can always say TFTC, just as a little thank you to the cache hider for going through the trouble and adding another geocache to the world and giving you a quick little adventure for you to find. So those are just a few quick little glossary terms. If I come across more that I might have forgotten right now, most likely I did, I'll update you guys in any other future cache videos. But for now, those are a few that you want to keep in mind if you encounter them on the geocaching app or the geocaching community. And of course, lest I forget, one of my favorite caches that I've ever found. We're going to show you some old footage that I took from the Myakka Forest in Florida before I had a YouTube channel. So I filmed it in a different vertical orientation. The footage is a little grainy, but it's so cool that I couldn't pass it up. So let's take a look at that and you'll see how creative and awesome people can get when they create these geocaches. I'm currently in the Myakka State Forest out here in Sarasota County looking for geocaches. Hi, how you doing? And I found one that is unlike any I've ever seen before. Look at this. Isn't that a beaut? Live Transylvania. What the heck? Well, let's see what we have. It says don't. I wonder why not. Maybe I should open it and see what happens. Ah! Not really. I knew that was going to happen. But how cool is that? Someone actually rigged this and left it in the middle of the forest. This is so cool. Looks like this is the cache itself. So doesn't seem to be a lot in it, unfortunately. See, that's the kind of container I'd like to see lots of little goodies and trinkets for me to take. But all we have is some change and the log, which I'll inscribe and leave my date and name on here so people know I went to visit this cache. But I have some stuff that I'm going to go ahead and leave behind so other people can come back and get it themselves, including I have several of these buttons, so I'm going to spread the good word of the RIP Tour podcast. So you guys make sure to check them out too. I'll leave a post in this post that shows their channel where you can find their podcast. But yeah, isn't that so cool though? Damn, I've never seen one this elaborate. So, yeah, perfect.
first geocaching in Yonka State Park. Let's see if we can find anything.
All right, well, that's going to do it today for our quick little primer on Geocaching 101. Again, just kind of the basics. I will make future videos if there's interest in kind of some more details on some more advanced caches, including caches that require multiple steps and other aspects like that as well, and exactly how trackables work too. Now again, I don't want to get too far into details with that because this is just kind of the basics, the starting points of geocaching and how you can go out there and find your first few and have fun with it as well. So if there's any interest in going beyond that and finding more advanced geocaching techniques and features, you guys let me know and I'll be happy to make a future video and show you some other stuff as well. I already have some footage all nice and ready to go just in case. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this quick little tour of my geocaching adventures, and I certainly hope that I might have inspired you to get out there and have some fun yourself and search the great wide world and to see what you can come up with. There's a whole world right out there that we don't know about. You can be walking past a geocache right now and not even know it, and other folks aren't possibly going to see it and know until you actually come across it yourself. So check it out, have fun, and see what's waiting out there. The treasure that's right beneath our feet, right in that bush next to us that we're walking by, right down the road. You never know. There's so much to see, and I hope you have fun discovering it as much as I have. All right, till next time.